Texas is one of the brightest, most contrasting, and most well-known states in the United States, famous for its bold history, vast size, and unique character. Casinos and night bars roar on every corner, and the state frequently grabs headlines. But where did the Texas we know today actually begin? What countries once claimed this land? Where did the idea of independence come from? And how did a poor agricultural region become a shining gem of the United States? That's what we'll uncover in the next 10 minutes. So, where does Texas history start? Spoiler, not with cowboys and definitely not with oil. It goes way back, like prehistoric back, when dinosaurs may have stomped through what would one day become Dallas. Okay, maybe not that far, but the first humans showed up in Texas about 13,000 years ago. Over millennia, this land saw a wide variety of cultures, from the Clovis culture to local tribes like the Karankawa, Comanche, and Apache. Each tribe had its own traditions, legends, and survival tactics under that blazing Texas sun. The first Europeans to arrive were the Spanish. As usual, they came with crosses, weapons, and hazy dreams of El Dorado. In 1519, Spanish explorer Alonso Alvarez de Pineda mapped the Texas coastline. He probably looked around and thought, it's hot here, right? But maybe there's gold. That's when Texas started showing up on maps, though not very accurately. In 1528, a group of Spanish survivors led by Alvar Núñez Cabeza de Vaca wandered the region for years, chatting with native tribes and wondering how people even lived in this place. By the 1600s, the Spanish began settling more seriously, building missions, forts, and trying to convert the locals into obedient Christians. This often ended in either tribal escape or direct conflict. At that point, Texas was just the edge of the massive Spanish colony of New Spain, a kind of forgotten little brother to Mexico. Then in 1682, the King of France claimed the entire Mississippi River Valley as French territory, a 4,000-kilometer stretch of land, wide as who knows what. They didn't even have a proper map of the place. To fix that, they sent an expedition. In 1685, the French suddenly showed up. Robert de La Salle founded Fort St. Louis in what is now Texas. The catch? The fort was 640 kilometers west of the Mississippi. Another fun fact, they built it smack between Spanish Florida and New Spain. The French didn't even plan to settle in Texas, but try explaining that to the Spanish. When the Spanish heard about it, they had something like an early geopolitical meltdown. A struggle for control broke out, the French colony failed, but the Spanish finally decided to pay serious attention to Texas, starting a wave of expansion in the 1700s. Fast forward to Napoleon. He comes to power in France, gets Louisiana from Spain through negotiations, and then sells it to a rising new power, the United States. Napoleon figured Britain might seize the region anyway, and defending Louisiana was a massive burden. Meanwhile, Texas remained part of a weakening Spanish empire, a land of trading, conflict, and diplomacy between Spaniards, native tribes, and increasingly American settlers edging in by the 1800s. By 1800, the Old World and the New World were crossing paths here. Then, in 1821, Mexico gained independence from Spain, and Texas became Mexican territory. But this was just the start of a long Texas-style drama, full of revolutions, battles, and even a brief stint as its own republic. By the 1820s, the Mexican government invited settlers, not just Americans, but pretty much anyone. Their slogan might as well have been, "Come to Texas, there's land, cattle, and freedom." And come they did, by the thousands. One of the most famous, Stephen F. Austin, brought hundreds of families who started building their own communities on Mexican land. These early settlers shaped the wild, unforgettable Texas vibe we know today, and the cowboy image too. But that's a whole other video. At first, everything seemed fine, but over time, cracks started to appear. Americans didn't want to follow Mexican laws, especially when it came to language and, hold on, the ban of slavery. Mexico said that this won't work and tried to restore order. Tension grew, and in 1835, a rebellion broke out that quickly turned into the Texas Revolution. 1836 was a pivotal year. After the bloody battle at the Alamo, where around 200 Texans, including the legendary Davy Crockett and Jim Bowie, died, the famous battle cry, "Remember the Alamo," emerged. It became a symbol of resistance. Then, during the Battle of San Jacinto, Texans led by Sam Houston defeated the Mexican army of General Santa Anna. Texas declared itself an independent republic. Yes, the Republic of Texas, it wasn't a joke. It existed from 1836 to 1845, with its own government, president, flag, and even ambitions to expand its territory from ocean to ocean. But there were problems: debt, external threats, and non-recognition by Mexico, which, by the way, was still trying to take it back. So in 1845, Texas decided to join the United States. America agreed, but Mexico was far from thrilled. They still considered Texas their territory, and thus the US-Mexico War began in 1846. After several years of fighting, the US won, and under the 1848 treaty, not only Texas but 55% of Mexican territory, including much of the modern West, California, New Mexico, etc., became American. What happened next? Texas developed, building railroads, farms, and cities, but the next challenge was just around the corner: the Civil War. In 1861, Texas joined the Confederacy, the southern states that supported slavery. After the Confederacy's defeat in 1865, Texas rejoined the Union, but not without difficulty. The Reconstruction period began, with military governance, conflicts, and tough social transformations. After the Civil War, Texas started to recover, but by the end of the 19th century, the state's history took a sharp turn. Enter 1901, Spindletop near Beaumont. The ground literally erupted with black gold, oil. This event changed everything. Texas transformed from an agricultural state into an industrial powerhouse. Oil rigs started popping up like mushrooms after rain. Oil tycoons got rich, cities grew, railroads spread in all directions. Instead of cowboys, you now saw men in suits and ties. Though don't worry, the cowboys didn't disappear. They just switched from horses to pickup trucks. The 20th century was a period of true transformation for Texas. During both world wars, the state became a crucial hub for military industry. Army bases, factories, and research centers boosted the economy. Then, when computers entered the scene, Texas didn't fall behind. Dallas, Houston, and Austin became tech centers, and Austin even earned the nickname Silicon Prairie. In 1963, the country held its breath. President John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas. Texas became the center of one of the most notorious and mysterious events in American history. Conspiracy theories, investigations, and memories, all of it forever linked Texas to a national tragedy. After that, the state continued to grow. In the 70s and 80s, oil brought huge profits again, but also showed the danger of relying solely on oil. In the 90s, IT, education, and culture boomed. Voices calling for Texas independence began to surface, half joking, half serious. Republic of Texas became a meme, but also a reminder. This state always loved being a little different. In the 21st century, Texas became a giant. With over 30 million people, it's the second most populous and largest state in the United States. The economy of Texas is bigger than that of some countries combined. It has it all: NASA space centers, startups in Austin, music, movies, incredible food, and of course, a unique independent spirit. And it's a land of contrasts. Here they elect conservative politicians, but also open the most progressive cultural spaces. They love guns, but also invest heavily in green energy. The heat can melt asphalt, but the heart never cools when it comes to its history. Texas is not just a state, it's a mood, a challenge, a place where the past and present live side by side, where every road either leads to a ranch or a big dream. And who knows, maybe the story is far from over. Because if Texas teaches us anything, it's that it will always keep things interesting. That's it for today, friends. See you next time.